Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about the elephant in the room. No, we're not talking about Dumbo. We are talking about Disney Genie Plus. So we're going to run down everything, how to manipulate it, how to use it, and all the pros and all the cons. So let's get straight into it. So, Disney Genie Plus was a paid service to replace the old FastPass system, which is kind of like your ride reservation systems. Before we start talking about certain rides and certain parks, the one thing I wanted to talk about is our baseline. Our baseline rules for Disney Genie Plus are this. If you are staying on site or if you are staying off site, you can make your initial reservation at 7 a.m. For individual lightning lanes, that is, the pay per rides, those can be made at 7 a.m. if you're staying on site. If you're staying off site, it cannot be made until the time the park opens. So if the park opens at 9, if you're staying off site, you can't make your individual lightning lanes until that time. The rule of thumb is for Disney Genie Plus is before you can reserve a second one, it has to be 120 minutes from when you initially made your first reservation, or you have to scan in your first reservation. So if you reserve Frozen Ever After at 9:30, at 7 a.m. you reserve it for 9:30. Once you go to Frozen Ever After at between 9:30 and 10:30, once you scan it in, you can pull out your phone and you can reserve another ride right off the bat. If your reservation is set for noon, your very first one, the earliest you could get is noon. 120 minutes after the park opens, you can reserve your second. And then the same process goes along. As you're reserving your rides throughout the day, on your tip board, it will show you at what time you can make your next reservation. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick rundown of how Disney Genie Plus works. First thing you want to do is download the My Disney Experience app on your phone, Android or Apple Store. Then you want to open up your My Disney Experience app, and on your home page, you'll see Purchase Disney Genie Plus for X amount of dollars per day. Today it says $15 per day because it's a non-peak time. That's where you would purchase it. If you want to know how to get to the actual Disney Genie Plus, you want to hit the bar down there at the bottom. You want to go to My Genie Day. And this will allow you to customize your day. I don't have any park tickets linked to it, so it's not going to let me do it. You click the Get Started Now. And what it'll do is it'll tell you to pretty much do everything that you need to do. You can select what you want. If you want attractions, which rides you want to ride, which shows you want to see. Then it'll ask you about dining. If you haven't made a dining reservations, if these come available, or if a reservation comes available throughout the day, it will let you know. And you can kind of select all the stuff that you like to do. And that's the kind of stuff that Disney Genie is going to kind of suggest for you during that time. Also, during this time, it will show you estimated wait times for those rides that you selected during that time. In order to make a selection, you're going to head over to your tip board right here. And right now, I have Magic Kingdom selected because it's just what popped up. And as you can see, each and every one of these, Astro Orbiter, the Barnstormer, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, all of these are individual or lightning lanes that you will be able to select. As you can see, it says make your first selection starting at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., if you wanted to ride Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, you would sit there and you would click on that one, and then you would confirm it, and then it would give you your lightning lane reservation. And it come down here as well, and it will show you the times, like the Dapper Dans, Disney's Adventure Friends Cavalcade. It talks about Enchantment. Thank God that thing's going away. It shows parade times. They reduced the parade times at this point in time to one show per day, but you can see you get all the rides and all the shows and everything that has to do with your park at that point in time. If you want to really change your park to see what you're going to, you go up to the top, click Change Park. Say we wanted to go to Animal Kingdom. We select Animal Kingdom. It'll pop up and it'll say the same thing. The animation experience at the conservation station starts at 10 a.m. Flight of Passage, individual lightning lane, resort guests can buy at 7 a.m. Dinosaur, really boring. Expedition Everest, all of these things are rides that you will be able to reserve with Disney Genie Plus. Now, granted, not every single ride is on Disney Genie Plus, but the bulk of the rides, the more popular rides, are on Disney Genie Plus. As you can see, Mojave River Journey. Don't make the mistake in confusing Mojave River Journey with the Kalahari. It's a water rapids, but it's closed right now for renovation, so you don't have to worry about that. But shows you Festival of the Lion King, Tough to Be a Bug, all that stuff that the kiddo is going to have. Meet Mickey and Minnie at the Adventures Outpost. That's over there in the Asian Pavilion, right next to Expedition Everest. That's what y'all guys will find out about that here later in the video. But yeah, that's pretty much how you maneuver through Disney Genie. If you want to go to your day, this is where a lot of your estimated wait times, it'll show you when the lowest possible time is for you to be able to ride this ride, which is very beneficial, especially if you can't get an individual lightning lane because you're staying off site. You can use the My Day to kind of tell you when's the best time to be able to actually wait in line for that thing. So I really think that's very, very beneficial, and I just wanted to take some time to show you guys how all that stuff worked. For a lot of new people that have never been to the park, Disney Genie Plus is kind of similar to the Flash Pass system at Six Flags. At Six Flags, you can reserve your ride using your phone or the watch, whatever your preference is. And once you get done with that ride, you can reserve another ride. With the Flash Pass system, you have like a 15-20 minute wait before you can go in. They'll scan your Flash Pass and then you go get on the ride. Disney Genie Plus is similar, but it has its own, it's different, okay? Disney Genie Plus will allow you to reserve one ride, each ride in the park once per day. So once you ride that one ride, you can't use Disney Genie Plus on that ride for the rest of the day. During the busiest times of the year, like in December, initially we were able to buy 2 individual lightning lanes on Guardians of the Galaxy in September because September is not considered peak time. In December, you were only able to use the individual lightning lanes one time. And the individual lightning lanes during the busiest times of the year, so if you're staying off site, you're already at a disadvantage because those individual lightning lanes will sell out super fast. Every single day I was at Hollywood Studios, Rise of the Resistance sold out before the park opened. So it was an impossibility to be off-site and be able to get an individual lightning lane reservation. The same thing applied with Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom. It is also an individual lightning lane. If you're staying off-site and you're going through peak season, the busiest time of the year, the chances of you actually being able to get an individual lightning lane is very slim because during that time of the year, the parks are at full capacity. The reservations are completely booked up. So there's like more people than you can imagine that are there trying to do the exact same thing. So if you're staying off site, you're at a huge disadvantage when it comes to individual lightning lanes. Okay, let's talk about prices. Prices on Disney Genie Plus run on kind of like a scale. And what that means is pretty much during some times of the year, prices will be lower. During other times of the year, the prices will be higher. When we went to Disney in September, which is considered a non-peak time, you would have paid $15 a day for Disney Genie Plus. When I went back in December, which is actually considered peak season, I paid actually $29 per day, per person, per day. And I kind of felt that without Disney Genie Plus during the busiest times of the year, it was almost like an impossibility to get as many rides as I was getting. I was getting 6 and 7 rides per day, plus 2, 3, and 4 character meet and greets, and I really didn't feel that I would be able to do that waiting in the standby line every single time. Because a lot of the standby lines are completely insane. Flight of Passage reached 285 minutes. So that is insane. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure at Epcot reached a total wait time of 4.5 hours in standby line. So a lot of people see these and they're kind of like, okay, well, I have to get Disney Genie Plus. And so that's what we did. But the peak time of the year, like spring break, summer, and end of the year, around Halloween, usually on the week of Thanksgiving, anytime that has to do something with holidays, 4th of July, you're going to see prices surge up for Disney Genie Plus anywhere between $20 and $29. I wouldn't actually be surprised if this spring break here in a couple of months, we saw peak times up to $29 a day per person. just because they're going to want to make their bank off of it as much as they can. So if you really want to save money on Disney Genie Plus, then it's probably best to go to Disney during a time of the year where it's really not that busy, which means the prices for it is also going to be down. Your hotel prices are also going to be lower. Your ticket prices are going to be lower. So just kind of think that in when you're figuring out at the time of the year to go on your vacation. The best time of the years to go on your vacation is probably going to be not spring break. Stay away from the summer. Usually like end of August, beginning of September is usually really good. The week after Thanksgiving, the first couple weeks of December are pretty boring. January and February are kind of hit and miss. Usually the second, third week of January is pretty dead. So just kind of weigh your options as far as that goes, because I mean, it is your vacation, so you should do what you feel is best for your trip. How do we manipulate Disney Genie Plus? Now, if you're sitting there wondering, it's like, what does he mean, manipulate Disney Genie Plus? And a lot of people, some people know this, a lot of people don't. Some people might have had it happen accidentally, but this is how we were able to manipulate the wait times with Disney Genie Plus. If you make a reservation for 9:30, you're going to have that reservation anywhere from 60 minutes from when you make the initial reservation. So let's say you reserve Frozen Ever After at 9:30. You have from 9:30 to 10:30 to scan in and ride the ride, according to Disney Genie Plus and according to Disney cast members. But you have actually 9:30 to 11:30. You have an extra 60 minutes after your initial time ends to scan in. If you scan in any time after that 60 minutes, it's going to tell you that they're not going to let you in. They're going to tell you that you've went past your allotted time, so you'll have to cancel it and rebook it. I use this to my advantage. What I do is I book a lot of the rides all within like the same hour. I think I booked at Animal Kingdom. I booked Expedition Everest, Meet Mickey and Minnie, and the Mojave River Journey. Meeting Mickey and Minnie at Animal Kingdom and Expedition Everest are right next to each other. They were all booked within the same hour. I was able to get the Mojave River Journey done first, and I had about 15 minutes left. But because of that extra hour, I was able to meet Mickey and Minnie, which was about a 35-minute wait. And then Expedition Everest was damn near like a 30-minute wait as well. So I was able to scan in. It's not when you get on the ride, it's when you scan in. So really keep that in mind when you're booking your reservations. Don't book something because, oh, well, I got this at this time and I got this at that time. You can also maneuver that around your dining reservations. You want to plan probably about an hour to an hour and a half at your table service dining reservations, so that way you've got plenty of time before and afterwards. But if you've got that hour little window that you've got, you can sit there and enjoy your lunch or your dinner, and then immediately when you get done, you can start making your way towards the ride. As long as you scan in within 30 minutes after that hour and a half, then you should be fine. So we're going to talk about something everyone wants to know: rides. If I'm going to Magic Kingdom, which rides should I do first? If you're like me and you like going multiple days at certain parks, then you really don't have to kind of squeeze everything all into one day, especially if it's a busy, busy time of the year. You kind of want to have more than one opportunity to do a lot of things. This is why we take 2 days at Epcot, 2 days at Hollywood Studios, and the bulk of our vacation when we go with the kid is usually Magic Kingdom, which is why we don't really stress. So, Magic Kingdom, what are the number one rides that fill up the fastest? Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise will book up really, really fast. It is very beneficial for you to reserve this ride first because the wait times on this thing can get insanely long. I did not book it in December when I went, purposely because I personally didn't want to ride it. It's something that I enjoy riding with the kid, but as an adult, really, really not my thing. Something else that books up really, really fast that you might want to consider is meeting Mickey and Minnie at Town Square. You can kind of have the best of both worlds if you really want, which this is what we did. One day we booked Jungle Cruise, and then as soon as we got into the park at Rope Drop, we went and waited in the standby line for meeting Mickey and Minnie at Town Square. While we were waiting for Mickey and Minnie at Town Square, by the time we got done, our reservation for Jungle Cruise was directly right around the corner, and we were approaching that 120-minute mark where we could reserve another ride, so it didn't really matter. Another popular ride that you want to really book up really fast that actually books up right around the same time that Jungle Cruise does is Peter Pan's Flight. Peter Pan's Flight is probably one of, if not the most popular ride in Magic Kingdom. So if Peter Pan's Flight is definitely a must-do for you, I would honestly probably reserve this one over Jungle Cruise. I really would. I would take Peter Pan's Flight first and then get Jungle Cruise later in the day. Because Peter Pan Flights, you can reserve it at 7 a.m. and your reservation might not be until 2 p.m. And that is a very real fact. I'm a firm believer that Peter Pan's Flight is probably one of the most popular rides at Magic Kingdom. Peter Pan's Flight is a really big one. And another one is you can use your reservations to book reserved seating for the parades. I am going to advise against this. I would not use your Genie Plus for the reserved seating during the parade. The reserved seating is usually around the hub area, right around the middle part, right in front of the castle. But there are a lot of people that like to get in front, and you're kind of like, you're really not in a good spot. To be honest, you would be very more beneficial getting to the parade area about 30 to 35 minutes before the parade started, and get you a spot, say over by Casey's Corner, somewhere on Main Street that a lot of people aren't really congregated, because when the parade gets under an hour before it starts, you're going to see a lot of people start to congregate around the hub and around the castle. So the best thing to do is, the parade's going all the way down Main Street. So this is what we do. We always sit there over there by Casey's or by the Emporium or somewhere over there where we can actually sit down on the concrete and just sit there and wait for the parade to start. So I definitely wouldn't recommend using your Disney Genie Plus to reserve for parades. Something else I wanted to add before we move on to another park is that Tron Light Cycle Run is opening in April. So if your Disney World trip is after April, April the 4th is when it opens. Be prepared to be ready to get in the virtual queue right at 7 a.m. because they're going to have virtual queue for Tron. I'm pretty sure they're going to make Tron an individual lightning lane as well. So if you want 2 rides on Tron easily, the best thing to do is to simply put get into the virtual queue, and as soon as you get into the virtual queue, go ahead and purchase an individual lightning lane right then, and that way you'll be in, and then you can turn right around and reserve your Disney Genie Plus first ride of the day at 7 a.m. But Tron Light Cycle Run is probably, for the rest of the year, going to be one of the most popular rides there because it's new, it's fresh, everyone wants to try it, everyone wants to get their coaster credit for it. So keep that in mind, that it will be, virtual queues will open up at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. If you can't get to 7 a.m., then you can turn around. You got to be ready to go at 1 p.m. because those virtual queues sell out fast. They book up fast, especially if it's during a really, really busy time of the year. I was on at 6:59 hitting refresh to get into the virtual queue, and I still didn't get in it. So trust me, these things will book up fast, so always be ready for that. All right, we're going to make our way over to the second largest park on Walt Disney World property, and we're going to move over to Epcot. Epcot right now has the virtual queue for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. We're not entirely sure if, with the addition of Tron Light Cycle Run, if they're going to continue to use the virtual queue for that or not. We haven't heard anything about it, so we're kind of assuming that they're probably going to keep it that way until further notice. Guardians of the Galaxy also offers an individual lightning lane there as well. It is the only one in the park that does so. What are some of the rides that you want to reserve first thing? And I'll tell you right off the bat, like I said earlier about Remy Ratatouille's Adventure having a 4.5-hour wait, that is the first thing you need to reserve. You need to reserve Remy's first. Remy's is going to be probably the highest grossing ride there. It's cool. It's awesome. The ride is amazing. The queue line is great. It's super fucking cool. So it's great. A lot of the other things that you want to think of, especially if you have small children, is being able to book Frozen Ever After. Frozen Ever After is right around the same. During the busiest times of the year, Frozen Ever After would sell out before lunch. By lunch, I mean 12. There were a lot of times where Frozen would sell out by noon, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, It was one of the, I had 3 days at Epcot. I reserved it on my first day, and then the second day I reserved Test Track, and the third day I reserved Remy. Test Track is another one that is will book up really, really fast. So I would definitely recommend getting Test Track at some point. These Lightning lanes, Disney Genie Plus, it's unlikely that Disney Genie Plus would sell out, but the Lightning lanes will sell out. It'll get so far to a point to where you can't actually reserve anymore because they're just not allowed anymore because they've reached capacity pretty much. So I would definitely recommend Test Track, Remy's, Guardians of the Galaxy. So moving on to Animal Kingdom. There are 3 rides here that I want you to focus on. The individual Lightning Lane for the park is Flight of Passage. Amazing ride, definitely worth reserving. The number one ride that you should reserve is Kilimanjaro Safari. Kilimanjaro Safari is super popular, and it's great, especially for kids. It's a safari, so it's great. The second one I would probably reserve would be Mojave River Journey, located there in Pandora, right next to Flight of Passage. So that one is very, very popular, especially for small children because it's great. Expedition Everest doesn't really get that long of a line, I think, because they usually run 2 and 3 trains. So I think the longest I saw it wait during the Christmas holidays was probably about 75 minutes, and during the busiest time of the year. So if 75 minutes really doesn't bother you, then you probably don't have to worry about it. It's not something that I would reserve first. It's something that we reserved later in the day. I think that was our last ride of the day, to be honest. But just kind of keep that in mind. You can also reserve Meeting Mickey and Minnie, which is right over there next to Expedition Everest. So just kind of keep that in mind. Moving on to Hollywood Studios. So this is one of these parks that I would recommend spending more than one day here, especially if you're going at a very congested time of the year where the crowd levels are higher than normal, because there are a lot of things here. There's a lot going on here. And we're going to get into it. The number one ride that I would reserve that is very popular is Slinky Dog Dash. I know what people are saying. Slinky Dog, I want to ride it. I want to ride it. I want to ride it. Everybody wants to ride it. So trust me, I've seen wait times. I've seen that line go from Slinky Dog Dash all the way down by Woody as you walk into Toy Story Land. So Slinky Dog Dash is probably something very, very beneficial that I would want to reserve first. Another one is Star Wars Smuggler's Run. There were my last day there, I wasn't able to get it because it was completely sold out. You see there's a trend here with things being sold out, you know. But yeah, Smuggler's Run is really, really popular. Another one is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which actually I was able to ride both days. When we went in September, we saw it book up really fast. But when I went in December, not a whole lot of people was, booking it early in the morning. So if you have kids that love Mickey, that love Minnie, you definitely want to ride this. But kind of use your discretion as keep an eye on the times, because if you look at the times and the times start going up closer to the park close, that means that it's getting closer to selling out. And once it hits park close, you're not going to be able to book anything else. It'll say Lightning Lane unavailable. So just kind of keep that in mind. Rock and Roller Coaster is kind of a hit and miss. There is a single rider line for Rock and Roller Coaster, just as there's a single rider line for Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom. But you can kind of use your best discretion. Individual Lightning lanes for the park consist of Rise of the Resistance. If you are staying off property and it's a busy time of the year, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, it's very unlikely that you're going to get an individual Lightning lane. Because nobody wants to wait in a long, insane line. Yes, I had to ride Rise of the Resistance, usually an hour and a half, 2 hours at minimal. So they just go ahead and pay the $17 to get a guaranteed Lightning Lane ride on the ride. It's something that I would do right at 7 a.m. They used to have virtual queue for this ride, but it's gone, thank God. So definitely consider booking that up. Another one that is really popular is Tower of Terror. I actually haven't even rode it yet. I've been to Disney World 2 times and I haven't rode Tower of Terror yet, but that's because it books up and sells out so fast. We didn't worry about riding in September because we really didn't care. We only had one day at Hollywood Studios. I had 2 days last month, and I still wasn't able to ride it. So this thing books up fast if you like drop towers and stuff like that. It's in an elevator. So I would definitely book that thing probably earlier in the day just to kind of make sure that you're guaranteed to get a ride on it. Well, all right, man, that's going to cover it for today. I hope we covered anything. If you guys have any questions about anything, don't be afraid to say something in the comments down below. And I'm sure me or somebody else will be gladly to answer the questions. Any questions or concerns that you guys have. If you guys are new here, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. And I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching the video. So we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.